you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage, and he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know.
Boxing pros reveal that Jake Paul has no real chance of surviving against Gervonta Davis. Shakur Stevenson explains that despite Jake's huge size advantage, it won't help him beat Tank. He believes Tank's superior skill and experience will dominate the fight. Shakur predicts that Tank won't aim for a knockout since Jake is too big to drop easily, but will outbox him completely and win by decision.
Difference between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. He's been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just going to knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no. Nah, that ain't really like... I mean, like I said, here's the thing. Like, I got two sides of me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be like, okay, I want to watch it.
Showbiz. The adult explains that Tank has already proven his ability to handle taller and bigger opponents, such as Ryan Garcia. He reminds people that Ryan was not only taller, but also faster and explosive, yet Tank still found his rhythm and defeated him decisively. The YouTuber and analyst believes that if Tank could close the distance against Ryan, who had real boxing experience, then Jake Paul will be no different. Jake's size may be an advantage on paper, but Showbiz insists that boxing is about distance control, timing, and ring IQ, all areas where Tank excels. He believes Tank has mastered the art of reading movement and setting traps, and once Jake steps into the ring with him, those skills will surface quickly.
Emotionally, see if he's rattled. See, when it's all said and done, the whole talking shit goes out the window. Jake's scared. And let me tell you this too. I looked at I'm sizing them up. I'm looking at Tank and Jake, and I'm looking at him. Tank can reach him too. He reached Ryan Garcia. He reached Mario Barrios. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to reach him. He's gonna reach him. He's gonna reach him. I saw Tank's gonna reach him. He knows he's gonna reach him. Listen, I want to say this too. Funny as hell. Before I say all this, Alicia Baumgartner, shout out to you, girl. I couldn't believe out of all the women to be the first one to do 3-minute, 12 rounds is Alicia Baumgartner. Not really known for having great endurance, great stamina, and she's doing this shit. Shout out to Alicia Baumgartner. Because, what's her name, Layla? I don't really know her like that. But she looks like she ain't rattled by Alicia, so that's a perfect dance partner for that. Trying to drag Alicia Baumgartner into lake water, see what's going on with that. Shout out to Alicia Baumgartner. But let's get back to Tank. First of all, Tank knows what he's doing. Tank Davis, he said, he was just making all these implications that it's going to be scripted. When he said, you're paying me, and then he was like, yo, you're going to have to give me extra. And then he said that this is scripted.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You paying me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Chris Algieri praises Gervonta Davis for his ability to draw massive attention every time he fights. According to Algieri, boxing is not just about skill anymore. It is about who can attract the fans and bring life back to the arenas. Tank has become a symbol of that new era. Every time he steps in the ring, he brings with him a surge of excitement that captures both die-hard boxing enthusiasts and casual viewers. Algieri points out that Jake Paul, though not as technically skilled, has played a similar role in reviving mainstream interest in the sport. His entry into boxing has brought a new crowd, people who might not have watched boxing otherwise. Algieri believes both men, in their own way, are good for boxing because they pull attention from different audiences.
About the face of boxing could be Jake Paul soon. And the face of boxing is basically, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again, these are created products. These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate. Okay, it's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set, and all over your phone, and all over. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about the shoe.
Charleston White dismisses Jake Paul's career as nothing more than entertainment disguised as boxing. He argues that none of Jake's fights have had the genuine feel of a professional bout. They are carefully staged exhibitions made to generate views and money. According to him, Jake has not yet stepped into the ring with a real top-tier boxer who would truly test his skill and endurance. Charleston's words reflect the frustration of many boxing purists who believe Jake is playing the system, using boxing as a marketing tool rather than a craft. Charleston believes that if Jake ever faces someone like Gervonta Davis, the difference will become painfully obvious. Davis's training, reflexes, and experience against world champions would expose Jake's lack of depth. For White, Jake's popularity cannot hide the reality that exhibitions do not build legends. Real fights do.
YouTube boxing and what people say is going on in the media, without a doubt, I think Charleston White is 100% right about that. Don't believe anything you hear. Don't believe anything you see. Wait to see how things play out, and ultimately everything will come out in the wash. Well, going into this fight with Gervonta Davis, I had my concerns about the fight because of the same type of reasoning that Charleston White used, except for mine is slightly different. I don't think that either one of these guys are going to try to do too much damage to each other. Number one, because if it's scripted, which more than likely to an extent it will be, Gervonta Davis is not going to put himself in a situation where Jake Paul is going to actually be able to hurt him. And with these 12-ounce gloves on top of on Gervonta Davis's hands, which is bigger, 2 ounces bigger, I do believe.
Teddy Atlas, one of the most respected voices in boxing, compares the potential Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight to the time Jake's brother Logan fought Floyd Mayweather. He explains that while Jake may have the physical advantage, Tank's experience will make the difference. Atlas describes Tank as a dancer, a fighter who controls the rhythm, pace, and energy of the ring. According to him, Tank has fought dangerous opponents his entire career and has developed the instincts to break down anyone regardless of their frame. Jake, on the other hand, lacks the sharpness and ring awareness needed to survive at that level. Atlas says that boxing is not about size or muscle, it's about precision and control. When Tank moves, every step is calculated, every punch has a reason.
So I liked this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter, he can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have to bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air. Bang!
Showbiz. The adult also comments on Gervonta Davis's personality outside the ring. He admits that Tank might not be the most polished talker or businessman, but that is not what makes him dangerous. Tank's confidence comes from where he grew up, in an environment that required toughness, not speeches. Showbiz says Tank's body language during press conferences says it all. He never looks scared, pressured, or overwhelmed. When he stands across from his opponents, there's a silent energy that communicates more than words. Showbiz points out that while Jake Paul is skilled at promoting fights and using the media, Tank's aura doesn't rely on marketing.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know. It's kind of like taking a guy from the block and putting him in the corporate world in a business meeting. He's going to be so out of his element that he's just, he doesn't even know how to argue without sounding like, I'm going to whoop your ass, I'm going to beat you. The way Jake was doing things, he had the clowns coming out.
Not everyone believes Tank can beat Jake Paul. Some analysts urge fans to be realistic and remember that weight classes exist for a reason. They argue that Tank's power and explosiveness are unmatched at lightweight and super featherweight, but facing a naturally heavier opponent like Jake changes everything. Boxing is a sport where physics matters. A 135-pound fighter moving up against someone who walks around above 190 pounds faces serious disadvantages in reach, strength, and durability. These analysts point out that Tank's punches might not have the same effect on someone as large as Jake. Even if Tank lands clean shots, Jake's heavier frame might absorb them differently.
All of a sudden, we want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think.
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis
that weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Dog.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70-pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135-pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30-pound, 20, 30-pound difference, bro, if you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out. Because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30-pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen with Jake and Tank.
Despite all the skepticism, many fans find Jake Paul's involvement in boxing entertaining. The fight has received both criticism and excitement because it adds curiosity to the sport. Some purists dismiss it as a money grab, but others see it as a way to bring new energy to boxing. Jake Paul has a unique ability to make people talk, whether they love him or hate him. Every time his name is attached to a fight, attention follows. Viewers tune in not only to see him win, but also to see if he will finally lose. That unpredictability makes boxing feel alive again. Even traditional fans admit that Jake's presence adds drama that boxing has lacked for years. The sport thrives on rivalries and big personalities, and Jake gives that spark even if his skills are still developing.
A lot of people said, this is bad for boxing, this is bad for boxing. Mate, calm down, calm down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. A lot of eyes to boxing. He's doing great for boxing. I don't care what everyone thinks. The weight difference is mad though. Lightweight to, God knows, cruiserweight or whatever the hell he is. Oi, Gervonta might get thumped up, you know. Hey, if he gets bashed up, I can never go on TikTok live again. The TikTok warriors are going to give me a hard time. They're going to say Jake Paul's undisputed. Oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread.
British boxer Dave Allen offered a more balanced take on the matchup. He admits he never liked Jake Paul's fights against Mike Tyson or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. because they felt like publicity stunts. However, he believes the Gervonta Davis fight might be different. Allen says as long as no one gets seriously hurt, it is fine because it is an exhibition that entertains the fans. He acknowledges that while Jake may not be a world-class boxer, his fights create conversations that benefit the sport. People want to see how far Jake can go and how Tank handles someone so much larger.
In an exhibition. Thing with Jake Paul, I think he's a good area title level fighter, and that's a good level. Like, and you can be proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good. But the Mike Tyson fight, I didn't like. The Chavez fight was just farcical because he's 10, 11 years past his best, up 6 weight divisions. But less of a problem because Chavez wasn't in his 50s. Fighting the MMA guys, again, he's fighting people that don't do the same, that they're not even in the same sport. But while they're a bit older, they're still not in the 50s. So all that stuff, I won't really watch any of it. I think I've watched one fight against Tommy Fury, the only professional boxer in and around his prime years, and he got beat. But I think his area title level, I think he works really hard. I think he trains hard. And I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. I don't think he's a good fighter, but he's not a bad fighter. For his experience, he's not bad at all. But Gervonta Davis is a lightweight. So, by all means, if they make a few quid and nobody gets hurt, then great. But I certainly wouldn't be paying a penny to watch it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, farcical. Who wants to watch an exhibition? Gervonta Davis is in his prime years. Why is he wasting his time? Why is he having a rematch with the fella he got a draw with? Why is he not fighting?
This fight did not appear overnight. According to reports, Gervonta Davis had mentioned Jake Paul multiple times over the years, teasing a future clash. Fans had been curious to see if it would ever happen, and now the talks have turned real. Both sides have exchanged words online, hinting at their desire to settle things in the ring. Tank has always been confident that he can expose Jake's weaknesses, while Jake views the match as another opportunity to prove he belongs among real boxers.
Yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I don't buy it for a second, but apparently they were in negotiations to have this fight happen if Tank Davis beat his previous opponent, which obviously ended in a draw. Which means he's obviously going to go and rematch Lamont Roach in his next fight. But come on, Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a cruiserweight / heavyweight. Tank Davis is a lightweight. This is Jake Paul's mindset. Okay, I'll fight a legit professional boxer, OAP. I'll fight a legitimate professional boxer who's his age, loses. Okay, I'll fight another professional boxer who's half his weight. Honestly, I don't care how big Jake Paul is, I genuinely do think that Tank Davis would beat Jake Paul. I think Tank Davis would be too fast, too slick, outbox him, move around. He wouldn't knock him out, obviously. I don't think he'd knock him out because of how big Jake Paul is, but he would outbox him 100%. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about this potential fight. I really hope it does not happen because Jake Paul needs to fight a legitimate pro who isn't a taxi driver, who isn't old, and isn't half his weight.
The final argument among boxing experts focuses on power dynamics. Gervonta Davis is known for his devastating knockouts at lightweight and super featherweight, but analysts question whether that same power will hold up against someone of Jake Paul's natural size. Davis's shots can crush opponents his own weight, yet when facing a much bigger fighter, physics becomes a barrier. They explain that a punch that folds a 135-pound opponent may not even stagger someone weighing close to 200 pounds. Jake's durability and reach could neutralize Tank's offense. That does not mean Tank lacks skill, rather, his usual formula might not work the same way.
Sense to me. Because yes, Floyd didn't have the punching power Gervonta had, but even if Gervonta lands, I don't see him hurting Jake to the point he knocks him out. So what are we even doing? Where's the idea of this where's the idea that Gervonta is even gonna hurt him? He may hurt him to the body, you know, whatever. Jake doesn't want to throw as much, but I don't see him one punch knocking Jake out. And, you know, the same thing was kind of said with Logan. Like, okay, Floyd probably won't knock him out, but probably going to outbox him. I get where Dana's coming from. These things are not meant to be competitive fights. They're meant to make money and to, I guess, scratch that itch of the circus mystery unknown.
And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than fucking Floyd, but he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, you know, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up. But I don't hate your brother. Your brother's out there doing his thing. But it cracks me up that they want to start suing people that are talking shit when your brother talks more shit than anybody talks.
I think the thought process behind it is, okay, so Jake and I are obviously pretty polarizing individuals. And when an echo chamber starts and a rumor mill starts of like staged fight bullshit, which like these fights aren't staged, you know, that's just, it's at that level, it's like almost impossible. I think they think that it affects the business and it affects the brand because people discredit him as actually having legitimate bouts. I think that's the theory. So to hold people accountable for
legitimate
perpetuating the rumor.
Legitimate meaning not fixed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And
which is I mean, again, Dana would do the same thing if his company became known for doing fixed fights when they weren't. Then he would try to find the same way to hold people accountable if they were reputable people saying that, right? So again, the whole Jake suing people for blatantly trying to say he fixes fights or he stages fights or people have no knockout clauses and all the other bullshit, I understand. Now, again, people need to use their words more accurately if they're upset about what Jake is doing. All you have to do, if you're upset with the way Jake is moving in his career, is say, what some people do say, which is, we like to see Jake challenge himself. We don't want to see these exhibitions, these fights that don't make sense for what you said you want to do or what you purport to want to be in the sport of boxing, which is a world champion. We want to see you fight active fighters around your skill level. That's it. But you can't go on there and go, oh, look, another rigged fight. Oh, look, another fake fight.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.